بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Hello dear students, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another video from your YouTube channel, Easy Chemistry for All. This is Mr. Muad. And before we continue guys, again, press a like, subscribe to the channel if you hadn't done so, and share it with your friends so that hopefully many more students can benefit from these videos بإذن ta'ala. For the PowerPoint and the worksheets and all the other materials regarding the channel بتحصلون هذه الملفات في التليجرام group, so you can join through the barcode here, or you can write the name and you can try to join. Okay, alright, so we are still in the module of stoichiometry, and this is the last lesson in stoichiometry, which is called percent yield, اللي هي نسبة العائد. Okay, or yeah, or it can be called like the percentage or the real percentage of what we actually get from a reaction. Okay, so I'll let you know what that means in an example. So what we want to know here, we want to calculate the theoretical yield of a chemical reaction from data. So whenever you see theoretical yield, guys, it means the mass. So the theoretical yield is the mass from mass to mass calculations. Okay, لما يقول لك find the theoretical yield, you will be given the mass and the unknown will be also the mass. So this will be the theoretical yield, and the yield is for the product. Okay, so the yield is the mass of the product. And we will determine the percent yield of a chemical reaction, which is a percentage. Okay, اللي هي نسبة بنطلعها الحين بنشوفها إن شاء الله في المعادلة. So that's what we want to do. So imagine you want to make a cake, okay? So you have 30 grams of flour, right? 30 grams of water and 30 grams of other ingredients. And now, what should be the total mass of the cake? كم بيكون وزن الكيك اللي بنسويها؟ المفروض it should be 90 grams, right? But look here, sometimes you have things that stick into the bowl, right? في أشياء تعلق في الوعاء. And also ingredients evaporate. بعض المكونات تتبخر نفس المي. Also some ingredients splash, يعني في أشياء تطيح على الأرض تعلق في الملعقة وهكذا. So المفروض الماس اللي نطلعها أو الكتلة أو وزن الكيك اللي تطلع تكون 90 ولا أقل in real life. In real life it should be around 80, يعني أقل من 90 gram, right? So what we did right here, because we actually added them, يعني حسبنا بالورقة والقلم, this is the theoretical yield اللي هي الماس, and this one, the 80 grams, is the actual yield اللي هي الماس الحقيقية لما احنا نسوي الأشياء بإيدنا, when we do it by hand. Okay, this is the maximum mass that we can get, and this is the real mass that we get. Now if we actually calculate the actual divided by theoretical multiplied by 100, we are going to get 89%. What does this mean? We only get 89% of the maximum mass. معناها احنا لما سويناها بإيدنا كان 80 جرام, ولما سويناها حسبناها بالورقة بالقلم 90 جرام. ف80 تقسيم 90 ضرب 100 تعطينا 89%. يعني احنا حصلنا 89% من الماكسيمم ماس اللي هي 90. Okay, and that takes us to the main idea. The percent yield, which is this one, is a measure of the efficiency, فعالية of a chemical reaction. Okay, so the higher the percentage, so higher percentage equals better efficiency. Okay, so again, what's the theoretical yield of the product? It's the maximum amount of mass of product that can be produced from a given amount of a reactant. You get it from the stoichiometric calculations اللي هي الماss to mass calculations. The actual yield is the amount of product you get, or the mass of the product you get, when you perform the real experiment in the laboratory. The chemical reaction is carried out in the laboratory. يعني لما نسوي الأشياء بإيدنا، نصنع بإيدنا، نسوي التجربة بإيدنا، ونحسب الماس بالميزان. But the theoretical yield اللي هي نحسبها عن طريق الكالكوليشنز اللي هي stoichiometric calculations like mass to mass, mole to mole, and so on. Okay. So imagine you are practicing free throws and you take 100 practice shots. So theoretically, if you are a professional, you will get 100 shots inside. But in real life, you will get less than 100. So theoretically, you will get all of them maximum, and in actual life, you will get less than 100. Some chemical reactions, or in some chemical reactions, or same for chemical reactions, our target is to actually get 100% yield product. يعني إذا بدأنا ب 50 جرام نريد البرودكت اللي يطلع لنا 50 جرام. Okay, but sometimes some of the ingredients stick in the beaker or the glass, okay, evaporate, and sometimes it gets spilled or stick on filter papers. Okay, so these are some examples that we actually get from the chemical reactions. Okay, we are not perfect, we make errors or mistakes in laboratory. That's why the actual yield is usually less than the theoretical yield. يعني actual yield تكون أغلبية الأوقات أقل من theoretical yield. So the actual yield is usually less than the theoretical yield, right? Now, how can we measure the efficiency of the reaction? We use the percent yield. What is the equation for the percent yield? The percent yield equals actual yield divided by theoretical yield times 100. Okay? It's very important, the actual yield and theoretical yield, هاي الأرقام هني should be masses not moles. يعني الماس بالجرام أو كيلوغرام. لكن اثنيناتهم لازم يكونوا نفس الوحدة. Okay? Not moles. So chemists need to know how efficient a reaction is in producing the desired product. يعني الكيميائيين لازم يعرفوا مدى فعالية التفاعل بحيث انه يكون لنا المكون او البرودكت او الناتج اللي احنا نريده. One way of measuring efficiency يعني كيف نعرف انه والله احنا سوينا تفاعل كويس او طلع الكمية طلعت كويسة. We use the percent yield, which is this ratio. Okay? In theory, if we get 100% معناها we are perfect. But usually we don't get that. Okay? So use this formula to find the percent yield. Imagine you have an experiment and you calculate it by hand, and the product, the theoretical yield was 73 grams and the actual yield was 62 grams. Calculate the percent yield. So use this equation. نستخدم هاي المعادلة. بنسوي actual yield تقسيم theoretical ضرب 100. نحط الأرقام actual الصغير على الكبير ضرب 100 تقريبا 85%. So 85%. Okay? That's the percent yield. So what will tell us about the efficiency of a reaction? The percent yield. كل ما كانت أعلى معناها higher efficiency. كل ما كانت البرسنت yield قليلة كل ما كان الefficiency ضعيفة. The yield is the maximum amount of product possible in a reaction. الماكسيموم هو theoretical yield. Now let's have a look at this problem. Let me just use the pen. What would be the mass of MgO produced when 4.9 gram of Mg reacts with O2? Okay. So what is given here? 4 grams of mg, 4.9 grams of mg, and what's the unknown? What would be the mass of MgO? So the unknown is the mass of MgO in grams. هي البرودكت. الحين هاي يا طلابي الأعزاء is a mass to mass problem, right? Because I give you the mass of Mg and the unknown is the mass of MgO, which is lesson 2 of this chapter, right? We already know it. So how can we solve it? We solve it in 3 steps. So this is given, this is the unknown. We solve it in 3 steps. 1, 2, and 3. Alright? Because we already have the equation here. So how do we do it? The first step is to find the moles of Mg, because that's what they gave us, right? They give us the mass of Mg, so we need to find its moles. So the moles equals mass divided by the molar mass, which is 4.9, divided by, what's the molar mass of Mg? 24.31. Now you have the moles of Mg. Now step number 2 is go from the moles of Mg to the moles of MgO, اللي هو unknown. So 0.201 times, نشوف ال coefficients of MgO, نحطه فوق, coefficient of Mg, put it down, multiply, and then you have the moles of MgO. What does the question want? The question wants the mass of MgO. So the mass equals moles times molar mass, which is 0.201 multiplied by 40.3. Okay? Which is equal to 8.102 grams or 8.12 grams. اوكي اذا سوينا تقريب يعني على حسب التقريبات اللي استخدمناها في الآلة الحاسبة او هي. Okay? But just bear in mind that you can get both answers depending on التقريبات اللي نستخدمها في الآلة الحاسبة خلال الحل. So this is not new, this is old. هذا النوع من المسائل مسائل قديمة من lesson 2. ما في شيء جديد. But actually, what I want to tell you, this thing here is actually the theoretical yield of MgO. ليش هذا هو الثيوريتيكال ييلد؟ لأن احنا قلنا الثيوريتيكال ييلد هي الماس تبع البرودكت اللي نطلعها بالحسابات بالورقة والقلم اللي هي mass to mass problems. So basically what you found here, this is the theoretical yield of MgO. Okay? But what would the question look like if they ask about percent yield? So they would be like, what is the percent yield when 5.5 gram of MgO are recovered after burning 4.9 gram of Mg in sufficient oxygen? So this is what we know actually. If they give you the mass of the product, لما يعطينا الماس of the product جاهزة, then this is actually the actual yield. إنه يقول لك هي recovered after burning. Recovered يعني استخلصناها بعد التفاعل. يعني احنا سوينا التفاعل بإيدنا ووزننا وطلع معنا هذا الرقم. This is the actual yield. And we have the mass of Mg 4.9 grams. And we have excess reactant O2 لأنه يقول لك sufficient oxygen. Sufficient يعني كافي أو بزيادة. Okay? So what we want to know is to find the percent yield of the product MgO. What's the equation? Percent yield equals actual divided by theoretical yield, right? Now we have the actual yield اللي هي 5.5 gram حق ال MgO. It's here. But what is the theoretical yield of MgO? So the theoretical yield is found by using mass to mass problem اللي هي حليناها قبل شوي هني. Did you see? So we use the same numbers of the question to find the theoretical yield of MgO. That's why I wanted to do this one with you first. So whenever you have a question, they will give you the actual yield in the exam, and the theoretical yield you have to find using mass to mass problem. So if you do it, we already found it to be 8.12 grams or 8.10, doesn't matter. Now just use the equation percent yield equals actual over theoretical. So it is 5.5 اللي هي الأكtual yield من السؤال divided by 8.12 times 100. Okay? And that is 67.7%. This is the percent yield. تمام? So, let's have a look at another question. Sorry. Yeah. Aluminum hydroxide AlOH3 is often present in antacids to neutralize stomach acid اللي هو مضاد الحموضة. The reaction occurs as follows. أعطينا reaction and it's balanced. Again, don't forget to balance every reaction that you have. If 14 grams of AlOH3 is present in the antacid tablet, determine the theoretical yield of AlCl3 produced when the tablet reacts with HCl. So what's given to us? 14 grams of AlOH3 اللي هو هذا. What is the unknown? The unknown is the theoretical yield of AlCl3, which is this one. شو معنى theoretical yield? You know it means the mass, right? So actually they give you the mass and they want the mass. So this is a mass to mass problem from lesson 2. ما في شيء جديد أو غريب. Okay, so this is a mass to mass problem from lesson 2, and that's what they mean. If they ask you about the theoretical yield, then you just find the mass of the product اللي هو they asked you about. So actually, if you look at it, the unknown is the theoretical yield of AlCl3, and that's what's given to us. So it's a mass to mass problem. يعني we solve it in 3 steps. The first step, find the moles of the given AlOH3. So it is the mass 14 grams divided by the molar mass. You can find the molar mass of AlOH3 on your own. So it's 0.179. Now you convert the moles of AlOH3 into moles of AlCl3. So multiply the moles by the coefficients. So the coefficient of AlCl3 here and the coefficient of AlOH3 is down. So it gave you 0.179 mole of AlCl3. Okay? Now, for the third step, to find the mass of this, just multiply the moles by the molar mass. طبعا the molar mass is given to you here of AlCl3. So the mass is going to be the moles multiplied by the molar mass, and your answer will be 25 grams, مش 249, 25 grams of AlCl3. So this is the theoretical yield. Okay? Now, what if the question, so this is the theoretical yield. If the question said, إذا السؤال قال 20 grams مثلا of AlCl3 was recovered after the experiment, calculate the percent yield. إذا عطانا الماس of البرودكت اللي يسأل عنه، هاي الماس تكون هي actual yield. وإحنا طلعنا theoretical yield. So use the equation actual divided by theoretical times 100, it will give you 83.3%. So that's the percent yield if they ask you about it. Okay? So basically هذا الدرس هو عبارة عن الدرس الثاني اللي هو mass to mass problem, ويعطينا الأكتشوال yield ونستخدم هاي المعادلة. Okay? And that's the end, guys. If you want to find the PowerPoint, don't forget to join the Telegram group, okay, through the link, and share and put a like guys, and subscribe to the video if you hadn't done so. وكل التوفيق يا رب، وأشوفكم بإذن الله تعالى في الفيديو القادم. في أمان الله.